The other part, I think it was very disrespectful for Rubio to go onto Twitter and expel this guy. He went through means, because Rubio is the Secretary of State, I think. He went through non-formal means. He went on Twitter before even reaching out to Ramaphosa and said this guy has to leave. Ramaphosa didn't even know about it and wasn't able to respond. That is also very disrespectful.
South Africa is not, they are not approaching this the right way. Look at the last time Ramaphosa himself was trying to engage the US and he wasn't using the right platform. He was going the non-diplomatic route.
What I'm saying is that the US is showing that they have no respect for South Africa. And I think the reason they're doing that is because Elon Musk has a personal grievance in South Africa. They did this to embarrass South Africa. Now, on another note, Ramaphosa is accepting it and he's saying, oh, we still are trade partners with America and everything. So we're going to go and talk to America. Once again, he looks weak in front of his own people. He's getting kicked out for basically talking trash about America. You're the ambassador. You're there in the U.S. And he said that. What did he say? He said Trump is a race baiting right wing politician.
Basically, yeah, it was Marco Rubio that referred to the Russell guy as a race baiting politician who hates America and President Donald Trump. And the reason he said so was that there was an article that suggested that Russell actually accused Trump of leading a global white supremacist movement.
Yeah, I got it mixed up. Yeah, sorry.
This is what foiled the
and I know, the U.S. and Russia. I don't think there's an embassy, but some countries talk bad about each other. But I think this guy should have chosen his words very carefully, since he's there as an ambassador. He's not there. That's for the South African ministers to say, not for an ambassador. What do you think? Yeah.
I think he's not doing his reputation any favors because he criticizes Israel. He's pro-Palestine and historically has made some derogatory remarks about Trump. So he's already unpopular. And then comes this position that he's taking with the already strained relationship between the US and South Africa over this white farm stuff. So I think it was, I think he's ill-timed and ill-advised.
Yeah, and also I'm pro-Palestine. I'm anti-Israel, okay? But
I am as well.
If I have a job as an ambassador, I have to choose my words publicly because I'm not representing my personal agenda.
You should have been a little bit more diplomatic and tactful.
Yeah. So now here's the other part. I think it was very disrespectful for Rubio to go onto Twitter and expel this guy. He went through means, because Rubio is the Secretary of State, I think. He went through non-formal means. He went on Twitter before even reaching out to Ramaphosa and said this guy has to leave. Ramaphosa didn't even know about it and wasn't able to respond. That is also very disrespectful. What do you think?
Yeah, I think it's very, very disrespectful. And but I feel also that South Africa they are not approaching this the right way. Look at the last time Ramaphosa himself was trying to engage the US and he wasn't using the right platform. He was going the non-diplomatic route.
Let me see what you're talking about. What you're talking about is, so I don't think this is relevant in this case, but Ramaphosa was having private meetings with Elon Musk about business. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, what I'm trying to say is that the people that are representing South Africa are not doing it properly. It's not in the best interest.
Yeah, but I don't think that's relative. That doesn't have anything to do with this case of Rubio going on Twitter to say that. So Ramaphosa, it was on Twitter that we first learned that the U.S. wants to expel Rasul, or the South African.
That is very wrong. But
it's wrong. But here's what it is. They would never do that.
I think it's typical of Rubio to be always like that when it comes to Donald Trump.
He wouldn't do that to Rubio wouldn't do that to the Ukrainian. Even if they're going to kick out the Ukrainian minister, they will show them some respect. What I'm saying is that the U.S. is showing that they have no respect for South Africa. And I think the reason they're doing that is because Elon Musk has a personal grievance with South Africa. What I'm saying is that they're not showing respect because even the U.S. has problems with Russia, they still go through the proper diplomatic
Of course, they won't go
channels.
to Twitter.
They
They
won't
won't go to
release it to
Twitter.
they won't release it to Twitter first. I think they did this to embarrass South Africa. Now, on another note, Ramaphosa is accepting it and he's saying, "Oh, we still are trade partners with America and everything, so we're gonna go and talk to America." He's taking a he's once again he looks weak in front of his own people. He's supposed to say this is an outrage. You can't just do this to us, and then he can call the ambassador when he gets back and tell him don't do this. What I'm saying is he's not standing up for South African sovereignty. Now, as an aside, the U.S. has threatened to remove its embassy in South Africa if South Africa names a road after a Palestinian. They said it's because the person is a hijacker. What that means is they don't like him because he's a freedom fighter for Palestine. So what I'm saying, this is a one-sided thing in which the U.S. continues to insult South Africa. They say we're taking aid away from you. They say you're treating white people bad so they can come to our country. Then they're meeting with Ramaphosa's meeting with he's meeting with Elon Musk privately about business. So it's very clear that Ramaphosa has business interests and he doesn't want to piss off America. So basically, South Africa is America's biatch. They are America's bitch. Not the people of South Africa, but due to their government. Ramaphosa, when he won again, and ANC won, he signed up with the PA and with the DA to set up a government and left out the black leaning parties like EFF and MK Party, which are very popular in South Africa. So it's clear that Ramaphosa is an Uncle Tom. He's the white man's bitch because he has money. I'm being real.
Oh
Ramaphosa
yeah, it's
was
true.
having a meeting today laughing, saying, okay, we know America kicked our ambassador. It is very big disrespect to South Africa to say on Twitter, oh yeah, your ambassador should leave. It's one thing if they say we don't like what your ambassador said, then they meet Ramaphosa and say we have to kick him out. They did it on Twitter. They didn't consult with Ramaphosa, which means they've castrated him. What do you think?
I agree with you. They're making Ramaphosa look very, very stupid, and he himself too. He's not standing up to be counted as a president of a sovereign nation. Is either
No, no, no.
he says that they're engaging America, they're having talks. It's either he's deluded or he's misleading his people.
No, that's
So
one way because even after they said they were going to cut U.S. aid and agricultural funding if South Africa doesn't back off from its land expropriation bill, Ramaphosa said, "Okay, let's make a deal." So what he's saying is that let's make a deal where I can revoke my what I did. It shows that he's in fear and controlled by America. And the South African people, you're watching. You're watching. America's bitching your country, treating you like a bitch in the back of a car that you pay $5 for a blowjob. I'm serious. I'm not joking. That's how they're treating you. And you're sitting down there. Let's see if you vote for Ramaphosa and ANC again. If you do, you're stupid. Continue, Afolabi.
of course, the people that are voting for him, they're voting. They're taking the risk on their own political futures. And
Yeah.
what I feel is that the guy is not being assertive. You're a president for crying out loud. Like you rightly mentioned, I think I actually agree with you. Going to Twitter
Yeah.
to say that kind of thing is disrespectful.
It's a disrespect. They won't even do that to their biggest enemies, Russia. They won't do it
Yeah,
to Russia.
yes. And I think they've over relied on, I think it's because of that African growth and whatever incentive trade deal that they've been enjoying from US. They have been over reliant on the United States of America, such that, like you rightly mentioned, is like a castrated dog. He can't really
Yeah.
act, really.
And here's
And
the
he's
thing.
making the whole of South Africa look stupid, just like he is.
Yeah, he's the stupid one. South Africans are, but if they keep voting for him, they're stupid too. Now, let me say something. Number one, if I were Ramaphosa, I will meet with the U.S. privately and work out whatever you want to work out. Okay, but in public, you have to take a more militant stance towards them and say we don't appreciate this action, and we defend our thing. Then find an honorable way to resolve it. Okay.
Yeah.
Second of all, now we're gonna see what they do. The U.S. has told South Africa that if they in Johannesburg, if they name a street after a Palestinian, they will remove their embassy. So you see the opposite. The U.S. will say, we will remove our embassy from your country if you don't do it. Americans saying, get out of our country because you talk about us. So this is a one-sided relationship in which it seems like Ramaphosa is he's trying too hard to placate America. I'm not saying that he should become militant towards America, but at least for appearances, show that you have some balls. What do you think? Yeah.
I agree with you. America is bullying him and is making it obvious to the world that he's being bullied. Because as it is now, I don't expect. I wouldn't imagine that he will make any retaliatory acts. Maybe some kind of trade war or something. I believe that he will just go behind closed doors and
Yeah.
find a middle
And,
ground.
and, and
And,
also,
and,
there's a bigger
and,
issue.
and people like Malema will start criticizing him again
Yeah.
for
And here's
engaging
where Malema said, why are you having a private meeting with Musk? So here's my argument. I think now Ramaphosa is not representing South African interests. I think South Africa is deeply embedded in BRICS, and they don't need to take this disrespect from America. But I think that Ramaphosa has investments himself, which America is threatening him. I think America has blackmailed on Ramaphosa, not on South Africa, and he's undermining the country. As Malema said, how can you have a meeting with Elon Musk, who wants to do his Starlink business in South Africa for money, but you're doing it by yourself without using your foreign minister? So what I'm trying to say is it makes Ramaphosa look like he's not actually representing South Africa's interests. He's representing his interests. What do you think? Yeah.
his own personal business interest. If I were
Yeah.
him, I'll make it obvious to the US that they can explore alternative trade relationships and allies without necessarily committing to
Yeah.
the ones on ground. But he's
So
not
what I'm
making
trying to say
that
is that,
obvious.
because
There's China, there's
can you
India,
imagine?
there
Can
are
you
other
imagine
African partners, but he's not
yeah,
making that obvious. It's like he's sucking up to America.
yeah. Can you imagine if the U.S. ambassador, I think he did say this, the U.S. ambassador in South Africa said white people are treating bad. I think he said so. South Africa didn't kick him out, but America kicked theirs out. That's why I say this is a one-sided relationship. Yeah. All right. Very good show. I know we have to get ready for.
Although I feel also that ambassador could have been a little bit
No,
more
he pushed it too far.
tactful.
He needs to be fired.
He was not diplomatic at all.
He needs to
If
be
he's
fired. Let me tell you why.
implying,
Because he didn't. He went off of the script.
yes, he went
He
off of
didn't
the
do
script. Why
and
would
he
you
has.
imply that Trump is leading a white supremacist movement? That is
That's
out
not your
of,
job.
it's not
Let me
your
give you
job exactly.
Let me give you an example. I believe that Putin believes that Trump is a white supremacist, but even Putin won't say that in public
In
because
public,
what
yes.
do you? And here's the thing: what do you gain by saying that? You don't gain any strategic value. You don't. So if you're an ambassador, you have to be strategic. Going out and calling Trump a white supremacist doesn't serve any purpose. Well, you know what it does? It just allows you to insult him. But we're Buddhists. Fabi, do words
Yeah.
hurt people? Do
Yeah,
words
he
hurt
does.
people? No, they don't.
And by doing
Words
that,
don't hurt
he has actually embarrassed Ramaphosa and put him on the
and
firing
South
line.
Africa.
And South
He's
Africa
embarrassed
as a
Ramaphosa
whole.
and South Africa because he didn't. We all know it's true. I'm not going to say it's true, but because I don't particularly believe Trump is a white supremacist, but I do believe that Trump is right now he's an asset to white supremacists. I do believe that. But my thing is that I'm doing a TV show, but if they
Yeah,
hire me, the ambassador of Nigeria, it's not my job to go out in public and say that Trump is a white supremacist,
yeah.
unless we don't have any diplomatic ties. For example, North Korea doesn't have diplomatic ties with America, so I can go out in public and say Kim Jong Il is a tyrant.
Yeah.
But once you become a public agent, you have to keep your mouth shut because
Of course.
what's the guy's name?
Of course.
Rasul. He's caused a big embarrassment to South Africa. Last
Of
words,
course.
Afala.
Of course, he's an element of bilateral relationship between two countries. He should never have said that. And I don't know. He also went as far as saying, Trump's campaign strategy rode on the "Make America Great Again" rhetoric. He went as far as saying that the MAGA rhetoric was basically leading a white supremacist movement, which is totally out of line. An ambassador shouldn't say such things. I think he stepped out of line and basically embarrassed his country.
Yeah. And I think that's going to be our thumbnail. You're going to say Rasul embarrasses South Africa. Show a picture of Rasul, show a picture of Rubio, show a picture of
Ramaphosa.
And maybe Trump. I don't know if we can have 4 people. Trump will be the last
Sure,
one.
we can have for sure. Sure.
I love this show. I love South Africa too. Love America. Love Afolabi. Love Nigeria. Guys, continue watching our show. Coming out of Nigeria, this is Focus on South Africa. Afolabi, what are you going to do when you leave here? What are you going to do, man?
I'm going to have dinner. I'm going to have dinner.
What are you eating?
Pancakes. I'm going to make pancakes. I bought flour and some eggs. I'm going to make
you're like
pancakes.
me now. You're becoming
cook. I love pancakes.
Okay, me too. I love pancakes. Make sure you know what you can do. Sometimes put ice cream on pancakes. Do you put syrup on it, or what do you put on it?
Syrup or honey.
Yeah, sometimes you can even put ice cream on it. It's very nice.
Wow,
Okay, have
wow,
a
I'll
good day.
try that. I'll try that
Nice
out.
one. Thank you, guys. Okay.
All
So
right.
send me the thumbnail as soon as possible. Thanks. Okay.
All right,
Okay.
sure.